WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, often reviewing rare and exotic whiskeys. This is from Virginia. I was between Christmas and New Year's in Virginia 2024. I went to my local Virginia ABC store because it's a control state, and I was looking for some bottles to bring back to Germany that I cannot get here. And there was like 2 bottles left in my suitcase that I could bring back. I saw this, it was like 79 euros, $79, and it's like, And then I read it a little bit. It said Ragged Branch, Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey, barrel proof. I was like, okay. Cowboy cut. That's like a little bit too much of advertising here. Then it was like wheated bourbon. It's like, oh, that's interesting. And then twice barreled. Batch number 5, bottle number 1522, and we have 57.8% ABV, which is 115.6 proof. And then I read on the back, and this was the most decisive factor for me. It says here, distilled, aged, and bottled by Ragged Mountain Farm, LLC, Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, this is a little too small for me to read without glasses. I know I'm old, but if you could possibly make that font a little bit bigger, that would make my life a little bit easier. So I saw, okay, I really wanted to bring back not sourced whiskeys, but actually whiskeys made in Virginia. Now, what I did not estimate was apparently this whiskey has some fans over here in Germany already. I could have done 2 bottles of this in my bottle share. I've been asked time and time again, oh, Jason, the Ragged Branch Cowboy cut, that barrel-proof Virginia bourbon, do you have another? Do you have some more? I was like, no. Why do you keep on asking? I brought back all this other stuff. Not people don't want that, but why do you want this? What did I miss online that has actually been reviewing this or talking about this? Even on the website itself, there is no single mention of this whiskey. If you go to raggedbranch.com, you go under then the whiskeys, you'll have their signature bourbon, which is 90 proof. Very, very nice. That's 68% corn, 16% rye, 16% malted barley. You go over here to the signature bourbon bottled and bond, which says it's aged a minimum of 5+ years and is aged both in number 3 and number 4 charred barrels. Then you go to what we have here, the wheated bourbon. We have here 68% corn, 16% wheat instead of the 16% rye, and 16% malted barley. Just like Wilderness Trail did their high rye and their wheated bourbon, they just switched the rye and the wheat, which I think is fabulous. They have bottled and bond products. They have a straight rye whiskey, which I didn't even see on the shelves at the store that I was down at Virginia Beach. 83% rye, 17% malted barley. And there's some special releases. Oh, I actually have a map here. They're all along the East Coast, from Texas all the way up to New York, including Rhode Island, but not Massachusetts. They're in Missouri, but they are not in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan. So that's actually where they're at. All right. So, okay, good. And if you go over here, there's no mention of this. So there are some. So if you go to the whiskeys here, there's some special releases and custom barrels. And they do have a little bit of information about the gift shop exclusives and so on, but it's not available. It's not there on any of the on the website information. They just have the bottled and bond and their signature edition, which I think is fine. The tasting room they have in Charlottesville, Virginia. If you're ever even close to Charlottesville in the Blue Ridge Mountains, I would recommend going by. But please remember, they're only open on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. That means the tasting room is closed on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. However, the distillery is always open for bottle sales. So you can still go in there. I'm sure you can take a look at the pot still. And that's what I love about this. They actually have a picture of the pot still on the website. If you go over to About Our Process, the first thing that pops up is the 500-gallon pot still from Vendome. That is fabulous. That's what we want. I've had so many pseudo distilleries actually saying, "Oh, we produce, we make, they avoid the word distilled." because they have source whiskeys. And so this is actually made at the distillery. Not even just that. Where it all begins is actually they have here the legendary master distiller Dave Pickerell helped Ragged Branch to develop the foundation of the bourbon process, the mash. So every single bourbon comes from their own grain, milled and mashed in daily. All right, so Dave Pickerell trained the people that still work there today. 100% of the raw grain is actually grown on their own land. So you have true terroir. So they ferment their wash for over 4 days. And they have their own Vendome copper and brass works 500-gallon still. There are, it has an attached hybrid still, but hey, it's still there. Their spirits are aged in new charred American white oak barrels in their own barrel barn. I've seen pictures of the barrel barn. That's fabulous. That's great. All right. I'm just amazed. If I'm close by to Charlottesville the next time, I'm going to drop by. I think this is very good. Now, Alex, what was his name here? Oh, I have to wear my glasses to see this. So, this is so small. I'm sorry, forgive me. All right. So, Alex, what was his name here? Toomey. Believe there's no better way to work cattle than on horseback. And as a cattleman, he wanted to hand select a spirit that represents his passion and the cowboy way. The cowboys and cattlemen of this country are some of the hardest working individuals in the world. They put beef on the plates of people thousands of miles away and rarely get credit for the hard work they put in. At Ragged Branch, we decided to honor the labor and dedication that these fine men and women put in day after day by hand selecting a barrel. This whiskey wouldn't be fit for a calloused cowboy if it wasn't left intact and undiluted at barrel proof. Tip your hat and enjoy Ragged Branch Distillery Cut, brought to you by the cattlemen of Central Virginia. As a farm-to-bottle distillery, we grow, harvest, and mill grain to produce our spirit on site and feed the residual mash to our canned cattle. And for 3 generations, the Toomey family have raised cattle, and our co-founder and head distiller, Alex Toomey, believes. So I started in the middle, and I finished at the end. All right, very, very good. This is great. I like this. This is what whiskey should be about, I think. All right, what am I going to compare it to? This is also what whiskey can be about. This is a mass-produced product. This is a column still. They're building a new distillery at Wild Turkey to actually make even more spirit. Comparative, the owner of Wild Turkey, bought Wilderness Trail, and they are going to make even more spirit there. Don't forget, Kentucky Straight Bourbon means from one state. It does not mean from one distillery. So they can actually put whiskey from Wilderness Trail together with whiskey from Wild Turkey and still call it Wild Turkey. No problems whatsoever for doing that legally. All right, unless it's Bottle and Bond. Bottle and Bond is one distillery, and you need to name the place you bottle if it's different. But straight, one state. All right, so if you take a look at the color, you'll see that the Ragged Branch here is actually darker than the Rare Breed. Rare Breed 58.4. Here we have 57.8, so we're fairly close. The only thing I don't know, and I could have called up the distillery, I could have sent an email. I'm sorry I didn't do that. What does double-barreled mean? In this case, I don't get it. Twice-barreled. It doesn't say, I'm sorry, it doesn't say double-barreled. It says twice-barreled. What does that mean? I don't know. So, does anyone out there know what Ragged Branch means with double-barreled? On the nose? Ooh, I'm getting Texas whiskey vibes. There's a deep, dark oak moment here. There's a little bit of a grape jelly moment. There's pecan, and there's brown sugar, even creme brulee. Very nice. Over here? Oh, this is wild turkey. This has more of the mineral moment, a little bit more of the cherry moment as well. All right, sláinte. That is massively oaky. If I had not known better, I would have said this is a Garrison Brothers. This is something from Texas. This could be a Balcones even. Ooh. So very, very good at the beginning. Oak, 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 oak. Oh, now I get a little bit of black cherry, a little bit of a plum. I get a little bit of that pecan tobacco moment. And I get some very nice brown sugar. But it's like, oh, this is good. Wow, there's a lot of oak. Oh, very nice. The alcohol is not the problem at all. There's strength, but it's not burning hot. Ouch! I don't like it. This is very good. I diluted this whiskey in my German video from 57 down to 50, and from 50 down to about 38% alcohol. And even then, there was still wood and there was still sweetness, but it didn't really, I'm sorry, for me, it didn't really mesh with at 50%. There's a little bit of bitterness, there's a little bit of just off, but at cask strength, it was great, and at 40, almost 40%, it was very good as well. A little watery, but this is very, very nice. This is this is a B minus product. At least for taste. The value for money, as I said, I think I paid $79 for this. $59, this would be great. This would be a steal. $69, this is okay. $79, a little bit too much. I'm still going to give it a C. Why? Name a cask strength available bourbon from Virginia. Reservoir, nothing's cask strength, I think. Catoctin Creek, everything they make is rye. We have Virginia Distilling Company. They make single malt. Who has a Virginia cask strength bourbon on the market? Bowman. I don't know anything that's cask strength. So there's not that much out there. Now, there's a lot of distilleries in Virginia making interesting products, and I will try a couple more of them. But this one really, really impressed me a lot. So, one little sip of this again, and then we'll go over to the rare breed, and then we'll finish up. So, my question of the day is, what is your favorite barrel-proof bourbon locally? From your state. It can be Texas, it can be Missouri. I don't know if Utah has anything. That's going to be difficult. Alaska, Hawaii. I do know there's distilleries in Utah, but it could be Massachusetts, it could be Virginia, it could be North or South Dakota, or North Carolina or Florida. What's your favorite cask strength whiskey from your state? Now, if you live in Tennessee or Kentucky, that's going to be easy. If you live in Indiana, it's going to be easy. But outside of those states, Now, it could be cask strength rye or bourbon. All right. So I want to learn. I want to Google. I want to have to Google some of these names of distilleries I've never even heard of. I'm not the biggest fan of that much wood, but here it's absolutely on the tipping point, and it stays within the realm of okay. But it has a great aftertaste. It has a great flavor. It's wonderful. Well done, Ragged Branch. All right. And I thought the word cowboy cut would just mean some type of marketing, blah, blah. Flannel. No, it's actually means something to these people that have their own cattle. And actually, third generation cattle farmers. And actually are still on horses every day. This is the non-chilled filtered rare breed. This really brings out in comparison that cherry that's in there. Oh, that is good. This is a great, and maybe even the best value for money, basically cask strength product out there on the market today for bourbon. This is wonderful. I really like this, and I would drink this. Actually, I prefer this over that. Has a little bit too much wood in here, but I really like this. Now, this is mainstream. This is standard. This is craft. And this is craft as it should be, and this is craft as we hopefully like it. Well done. Well done. All right, Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, telling others peoples about this, and sharing this video, and also writing down what is your favorite cask strength, barrel proof, local whiskey. Local from your state or within 200 miles or whatever. What is the nearest distillery that you know of that you like and you can recommend? Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.